I was surprised as my first impression. Surprised because it's just so much more modern and vibrant and, I don't know, it's kind of in your face.
Look, when I saw it at first glance, I was convinced immediately. This packaging, I think, is really perfect. It does everything it needs to do.
I think the first time the ACC came with this specific design, we really felt something powerful was on the table. And we had a kind of eureka, we are there. So it was a fantastic feel.
When I first saw the pack, I was really excited. It's modern, it's fresh, and I really think it can take Rama into the future.
Well, I have to say the first time it was presented to us, this was this pack and, I don't know, 10 or 15 others, and this one stood out.
Well, I think first and foremost, if you have a look at the pack, it has Rama front and centre, so I think really stands out from the clutter. So I think, first of all, that was the most important thing for me. I think the other thing is it's just really warm. It's simple, has a nice, clean message for the consumer. So I really like that in the pack.
It just dominates the face. Whereas before, the pack has got the name on it and some other elements, and it just isn't so clear. So it feels strong, it feels very confident. Now, the flowers seem to mean lots of different things to lots of different people. I've heard consumers say, oh, it's a family growing up, this is me, this is my wife, or this is my little boy. But also, it just feels very natural. It feels modern. It feels confident again. So it goes really well with the logo. And I think the brightness of the yellow and the greenness at the bottom just gives a feel of a kind of modern naturalness.
This pack, I think, has the boldness a brand like Rama needs. And most important there is, I think, that we put the brand name again central on pack, also on the side. So you see in the authoritative color of blue, you see the brand being centered. And we have added to that a brand device, or the brand device of the flowers, because that should make it in the end much more brand ownable.
Most of the brands have a brand name on it and a nice food shot. Now this one is really getting away from the crowd by not going into the classic food shots, but it's actually there's something much more in it. There's more than just a brand name, there's more than just a food shot. There is a message, and what I really like about it is that I've heard consumers talk that it really drags them into the interpretation of what's on the pack. It does communicate that this is a family brand, that this is a brand that actually allows our kids to grow great.
It's funny, actually, because in some ways it's not that different at all. I've got two packs here. So this is the old Blue Band Goede Start. This is my best Dutch. This is the new Goede Start. And they both look like Goede Start. They both look like Blue Band. So you might say, well, what's the point? But if you put them side by side, one just feels a little bit passé, and one feels like part of the future. And so I think it does a good job of taking the brand forward, but it still feels like the brand, which is really important. It doesn't feel like we've lost something, it feels like we've gained something. You know, we've tried over the last 10, 15 years lots of different ways to bring the brand to a great place. And we started in lots of different places. And I think that this design takes us to the next step in really unifying behind the brand vision. And if we've got the brand vision right, the pack is a fundamental piece of communication. You know, you can't have the pack wrong and the advertising right. You've got to have both of them working in synergy all the time.
I think it also is a pack design that really well encapsulates the Grow Great Kids message. And I do think it does leave every mother a little surprise in terms interpretation of what she sees in the pack.
We are in the business of changing consumer behavior, and this design can do that, because I think it has the appeal. It on the one hand communicates what we want to stand for as a brand, so that we offer essential fats for kids' growth. On the other hand, I think it takes away the concerns about the artificiality of margarines. It has a very natural kind of image, I think much better than the current pack. And in that way, I hope it creates the brand preference and the selection on shelf.
Well, if you have a look at the pack, I think it's really going to contribute in a number of ways. One, at shelf, it really stands out. The fresh, vibrant image really supports our overall positioning a lot. So that will really help stand out in store. But I think more importantly, in consumers' homes, this is the pack that I think people feel proud to put on their table and actually interact with it. And I think that's really important as we go forward on spreads overall.
You know, there are two places you compete. You compete in the supermarket or on the shelf, and you compete in home on the table. So the first big thing is I think we're just much easier to find. So we know emotionally, intuitively it's true, but quantitatively in the Netherlands and in Germany we did big studies and people find it faster. So the first point you have to win at is, do you get chosen before somebody else? When you get home, when you can reflect a little bit, when it's on the table and the family around it, I just think it feels much more part of the consumer's life that we have today. It doesn't feel like it's in contradiction. I think some of our competitors' products are really good. There's some great pack designs out there. But a lot of brands in this category feel a little bit old. So we take ourselves forward, we force the others to come with us.
So besides the normal activities like television support, media support and activation, we are thinking of a very special PR event, and we will wrap our office, De Brug, completely as it would be a Blue Band wrapper, and then we will try to unwrap it in the presence of the press. I think this will be picked up by television news at 7 or 8 o'clock prime time.
Marketing isn't a hard science. It's just we try to be excellent, but it's very, very difficult and we are never certain how far we are. I think with this pack it's one of the first mix elements of family goodness where we are very close to excellence.
This has been really, really, I shouldn't say easy, but pleasurable. Because each time we've gone to the countries, they've been as excited as we've been. So it hasn't been a case of, well, maybe I'm a bit concerned about the risk. It's been a case of, really? That good? When can we have it?
I think this new pack design will definitely communicate to our consumers in CEE that the brand is moving with time. And I think that is important. It is not a stagnant brand, but it is a brand that moves with the spirit of times. And that's what our mothers of today are actually expecting.
There's always a moment where you have to share it with the countries. You know, we work in our brand development way, learning, developing, building, and then you get to the point where you need to go to the guys that run the business in the Netherlands or in Germany, for example, and say, this is it. And that's a really tense moment.